do. I do a lot. The American public knows exactly what's going on, and that's why they're soundly rejecting this administration. He has the lowest approval rating of any president of the last 70 years for the first 100 days. His stock market for the first 100 days is the lowest since Nixon. Unprecedented low foreign policy approval rating and economic approval rating. The American public is smart enough to know that their shelves, if they're not already empty, are going to be empty because of tariffs. 69% say he's not focused enough on lowering prices. 62% focus too much on tariffs. 72% think his policies will cause a recession. 64% disapprove of how he's handling inflation. He continues to beat a drum that is making the absolute worst economic music I have ever heard in my entire life. And
so they're all taking a victory lap now. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I want to dive a little bit more into it for a couple of reasons. One, because they're still taking a victory lap, as you just saw there from Miss Turloff. I believe that's her last name. Chuck Schumer as well. You're going to laugh when you see this clip. I actually put this in a YouTube short, I believe. So if you are watching my YouTube shorts, make sure you definitely check those out because you missed some good clips. But for those of you that haven't seen it, here's a clip of Chuck Schumer talking about Trump's, first 100 days, the polls and whatnot, and how terrible Trump is. But then he's asked about his own polls, and pay close attention to his response. Check it out.
Americans are noticing. The polls this week show Trump has the lowest 100-day approval rating since they started polling 80 years ago, the lowest. Even worse, 72% of Americans think it's likely that Trump's handling of the economy will walk us directly into a recession. People who hate what Trump is proposing. Yes.
There was a poll out today that has your approval rating lower than any other congressional leader at 17%. Are you concerned that you may be a liability for your party?
Polls come and go. Our party is united. We're on our front foot. We're stepping forward and going after Trump and having real success. Yeah.
So on one hand, he's bragging, oh my goodness, look at Trump's polls, are so terrible. But when he's asked about his own polls, that are 17%. Oh, polls come and go. You just can't make this stuff up, man. You really can't. You can tell he wasn't prepared for that question simply by that answer. That was not in the script. But one thing that we also have to pay attention to with a lot of these polls is what Mr. Victor Hansen had to say about it, and I want you guys to check this out.
The pollsters have Donald Trump down four or 5 points, but when you actually look at the Rasmussen poll or Mark Penn's poll, a Democratic centrist, Trump is almost even. And then when you look with greater clarity at the New York Times poll that has him way down, you see that only 37% of the people polled voted for Donald Trump. But Donald Trump won by almost 1.5 points. Don't you think it should have been, 51, 49%? So they were deliberately, in the case of the New York Times, under polling Trump supporters. The same was true with the Washington Post. They polled over 2,000 people, but only 840 were identified as Trump voters. Shouldn't that have been half? So what am I getting at? We're getting right back to what happened in 2016 when the polls were completely wrong. The same thing happened in 2020 when they overestimated Biden's strength by 4 or 5 points. And then even in 2024, the NPR poll had, on the last day of the election, they had Kamala Harris winning by 4 points. The Des Moines Register had Iowa lost to Trump by 3 points. He won it by 12. So what the pollsters are doing, not that Trump hasn't lost some because of the controversy over the trade wars, but the pollsters are trying to create momentum, fundraising, and jazz up opposition.
Yeah, they're cooking the polls. And all you got to do is look at the crosstabs. But even with that being said, CNN actually released a video that I'm actually shocked that they released. Okay? And let's just put it this way. If they're releasing these polls, you know it's real good. It is real, real good. Okay? When they can't cook the polls enough to put Trump under, you know it's looking real bad for the Democrats. Check it out.
Who'd be doing a better job as president? Guess who comes out on top? Within the margin of error, but comes out on top. This looks a lot like the election result, right? Trump 45%, 2 points ahead of Harris at 43%. 12% say they'd be doing about the same. But this is the key nugget here. It's not just about regretting that vote. It's literally saying who would be doing the better job right now. And Trump continues to score a higher percentage of the vote than Kamala Harris. This looks a heck of a lot like the election result. We have just seen this in poll after poll after poll. Despite the fact that Trump's favorable ratings aren't too hot to trot, when he's matched up against who he was matched up in 2024, he still, across the polls, scores a higher percentage than Kamala Harris does.
Even if they don't know exactly what she would have done, they still went for Donald Trump. Okay, what about when he's matched up against congressional Democrats who we know have had some pretty rough numbers?
Yeah, they have had some pretty rough numbers. So Kamala Harris obviously doesn't hold elected office right now, but Democrats in Congress sure do. So who do you trust more on the U.S. main problems, the main problems in the United States? Well, what do we have here? It's the same exact picture, folks. It's the same exact picture. When you match Donald Trump against his actual competition, Donald Trump comes out ahead. Look at this, 40% to congressional Democrats, 32%. Going to make a big circle here. But the bottom line is, when you look at Donald Trump in a vacuum, it's one thing. But when you actually match him up against folks in the real world, all of a sudden his numbers look considerably better. And when you match him up against his main competition at this point, Democrats in Congress, he is more trusted on the main problems facing the United States right now. In fact, it's not even close. It's an 8-point advantage, which in this politics, well, that's a wide ocean.
It's huge and maybe tells the Democrats that their messaging is not working at this point in time. All right, speaking of the big issues, which party is better trusted when it comes to things like the economy and immigration still?
Right. Okay. So we kind of talk about it a little bit up here when we match up Donald Trump against the Democrats in Congress. But what about the parties up against each other, right? Donald Trump has not seen those favorable polls when it comes to the economy, when it comes to immigration. But look here, which party has a better plan? And this is the margin among registered voters. Look at this on immigration. The GOP crushes the Democrats. Look at that. That's a 19-point edge. My goodness gracious. You rarely ever see leads like that in politics these days. How about on the economy, where Donald Trump's numbers have been struggling a little bit? But even there, Republicans hold a 9-point lead. If Democrats think that at this particular point, just because Donald Trump is unpopular, that they're going to run away with it like a Heisman Trophy winner, that is not necessarily the case. These numbers should be a major wake-up call for Democrats. Despite Donald Trump's unpopularity in the polls, when you actually go up against him and you put Democrats' names against him, when you put Republicans as a whole up against him, Republicans and Donald Trump do considerably better. And that is why Democrats, in fact, cannot count their chickens just yet.
So there you have it. Democrats are cooked. If you can't beat Trump right now, when we know things are going to be rough, how do you expect to beat him after he succeeds in everything he's attempting to do? You're cooked. You are royally they have to hope and wish that he absolutely bombs this entire situation, that he bombs the entire situation, that the economy absolutely tanks. We go into not a recession, but a depression, and you know, the tariffs. I mean, like, everything goes to poop. That's what they have to hope for right now. That's what they have to hope for. But one thing about these polls is I don't take them very seriously. One, because a lot of these pollsters are the same pollsters that predicted Kamala was going to win and predicted Hillary was going to win and said Joe Biden was going to blow out Trump, right? And they were all wrong. They were all wrong. And one thing that I focused on this past election was when Trump would go out and talk to people, or go out in crowds, or when you would see like the street interviews. Those are the things that I would pay attention to. And I want to show you guys a clip really quickly, because Trump recently took a trip to the University of Alabama. And I want you guys to see the response. Okay? Check it out.
Donald J. Trump.
Now, yes, some of you are going to say, well, Rich, this is just one clip. Yeah, sure. But do you think Biden could have pulled that off? Do you think Kamala could have pulled that off? And people standing up, clapping and cheering? I mean, we have examples of it in the past, right? Kamala pulling up to a basketball game, nobody cared. Trump pulling up to a football game, the crowd goes crazy when they put him on the screen, right? Trump pulling up to the NCAA wrestling championship, right? Everybody going crazy, wrestlers coming over trying to take pictures with them. Kamala couldn't pull that off. Democrats couldn't pull that off, but Trump can. And yet I'm supposed to believe all of these polls that, oh no, Trump's underwater, Trump, everybody hates Trump. Come on now, stop it with the nonsense. But if you don't believe that clip, I mean, I've got more.
First 100 days, what grade would you give Donald Trump and why?
On a scale of 1 to 10, 20.
20.
Amen.
And why 20?
I feel safer. I feel more confident. I know who's running the country, and we haven't for the last 4 years. I think the economy is going to come around. I love the people that he's picked for the cabinet. I think everybody is just doing a top-notch job, and I love Doge.
I am totally excited. Everybody I know is excited. My biggest issue is the border, and he's killing it. Well, absolutely, everybody that's here illegally should go. I'm not one of these that, oh, the poor person. No, they need to go. They came in illegally.
What do you think of the first 100 days of Trump?
Blown away. Amazing. Amazing. He couldn't have done any better. For 78 years old, he is phenomenal. I'd like to see anybody who can stay up as late as he does at night and be up the next morning and still function all day, because I don't think I could.
What have you liked the most in terms of what he's done?
Oh my gosh, the immigration policies. You know, if you're here illegally, you need to go home.
So there's another clip, and I've got another one too. I mean, if you guys want me to keep going with this, I've got more. And this one's from CNN themselves. Check it out.
If you had to do it all over again, would you vote for Donald Trump again, yes or no?
Yes, I would. Now, in the future, I am not a diehard Democrat or diehard Republican. If there were a Democratic candidate who was more aligned for me, then I would vote Democrat.
If you go back in time, would you vote for Donald Trump, yes or no?
Yes.
I think I might know the answer on this next.
He said yes.
It's immediately yes. No, I'm sorry.
If you had to do it all over again, would you vote for Donald Trump, yes or no?
1,000% absolutely yes.
So yeah, when you go out on the streets and you actually talk to people, not just look at these fake polls that have been cooked and baked to try to make Trump look to try to make Trump look bad or to paint Trump in a bad light, but when you go actually talk to people, you realize, oh, those polls aren't real. People actually do love Trump. People are actually willing to give Trump some time. People do understand that, yeah, it's bad now, but it had to be. It had to be this way because there was so much. There was so much gunk that had to be taken out. Yeah, it's gonna be a little rocky right now, but in the end, we're gonna be better off for it. People understand that. People see that. People aren't buying into the propaganda, and I just showed you several examples of it right there. If you want more, I can give you more, but for now, thanks for tuning in. Peace and love. I'm out.